What's up guys, Sloth here and welcome to the third part of my how to counter every guard in 2 items list. As usual, some guards didn't quite fit into the category with 2 items. I hope that's not a problem for you. Other than that, the usual disclaimer that I made in the other 2 videos counts here as well. Without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Alright, let's get it on!
Countering Cupid is fairly simple. Strong items against him include Midgardian Male and Hide of the Nemean Lion if you go for defense. And, as unfortunate as this is, Beats is once again a very strong counter. Cupid gets most of his damage off when he CCs you and then auto-attacks you because you can't move. Therefore, especially against his ultimate but also against his bomb stun, Beats is extremely potent. Other than that, the usual ADC items apply.
Time to hunt.
As unfortunate as this is, the second guard is also countered by Beats. Beats are extremely potent against Fenrir because you can cancel his stun and, even more importantly, you can get out of his ultimate. Beats is superior here because you can activate it on demand. Magi's Blessing is still strong against him, but a good Fenrir will pop your Magi's Blessing with his stun and then still take you away with his ultimate. On top of that, you should always try to keep a distance between you and Fenrir, which is not that easy, but all his physical damage can only be applied when he gets close to you. So in many situations, what you want to try and do is just sprint away and kite him around.
For Asgard!
Talking about sprint, here's another guard that's countered by sprint. Sprint 2 is very strong against Freya because it takes away her slow and therefore the possibility to chase you properly. The same goes for Winged Blade. On top of that, if you struggle very much with her damage from the ultimate, Aegis is always a good option. You'd probably consider if you want the damage reduction after using Aegis, or if you want to walk away from her as far as possible. I'd probably recommend doing the second choice.
With shields and rock and stone, we shall force our enemy to yield peaceably.
As Smite's items are fairly balanced and there's definitely no favorites among the actives, I'm totally not going to say that Magi's Blessing and Beats are good against Gap. They are. They help against his immense amount of CC, but sometimes you might just end up getting hard CC'd anyways. In that case, you might want to consider going for Spirit Robe so you can reduce the damage taken after being CC'd. As for his damage, it is fairly low, so if you ever come up against an unusual lineup where you don't see a gap in his support role, Stone of Gaia should basically be enough to take him out, simply because he won't be able to poke you down enough.
Our deeds shall be written in legend.
One of the most annoying parts of Guan Yu's kit is his heal. Therefore, I strongly recommend getting an anti-heal item. This might be Broader's Beatstick, Divine Ruin, or Pestilence, depending on the character you're playing. On top of that, if it's still not enough, Weakening Curse is also very strong against him, because his escapes outside of his ult are limited. If you're able to force his ult, he's basically a backlining tank, which is not that dangerous anymore.
Sound the death knell. I arise.
Being a Guardian usually played in solo or even mid, Hades has a lot of sustain. What I'd like using against him is Stone of Gaia, simply to get some sustain of myself and also be able to withstand his damage better. Against his ultimate, you have multiple options that highly depend on the team lineup. Beats will always get you out the quickest. If you have a leap, you might not even need them though. And if you have a team that highly depends on his ult setup, for example with a Scylla, then Aegis might be a good choice as well.
Those who oppose me shall be swept aside.
Countering him was fairly easy. He strongly relies on his burst, so getting Bulwark of Hope will counter that, because after his combo he doesn't have too much to do. On top of that, getting Magi's Blessing allows you to avoid his knock-up, which is crucial if he goes for the knock-up ult combo.
I awake from the darkness! Hello, everybody!
The biggest problem about Hel are her heal and her strong late game. So what you want to do is get Weakening Curse as early as possible to prevent her from getting there in a good way. It will allow you to reduce your heal to 0%, and on top of that it makes her very prone to ganks because she doesn't have any escapes. If that's not enough, Pestilence is a good option to get some extra defensive stats against her and reduce her healing throughout the whole laning phase.
Time to go to work.
There are different ways to counter the raid boss. One thing that Hercules is very prone to is not having his heal. So using Weakening Curse can be strong against him. If you want to use Weakening Curse, make sure to wait for 5 seconds until his ultimate does actually start healing him up. Or don't even hit him in those 5 seconds and his heal will be basically useless. On top of that, beats can be very strong against him, maybe on a more squishy character, in order to prevent his complete combo from happening. So after he knocks you up, you want to use beats before he knocks you back further and stuns you. When you meet him in solo lane, it's recommended to get some kind of physical defense and some health because his early damage is fairly strong. So if you're playing a character that can afford it, Runeforged Hammer should be the way to go.
I will defend this land from those who intend to destroy it.
Being another one of the hunters, Hou Yi is basically countered in the same simple way that they are. Midgardian Mail and Height of the Nemean Lion will help against his damage, Enfeeling Curse will lower his attack speed, Magi's Blessing will get you out of his stun, and on top of that, you can consider getting Shield of the Underworld if you want to reflect a lot of damage. I know I mentioned way too many items for Hou Yi and for every other hunter as well, but it's always the same concept. Therefore, it's just up to you to choose which ones you want and which ones you can afford on your character. That marks the end of this episode. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. If you've got any questions, anything you'd like to add, feel free to do so in the comments below. Otherwise, feel free to leave a like, leave a sub if you feel like it. If you don't, I don't mind. It's a sloth life after all. Duke Sloth, out.